Have you ever had one of those moments where someone on your team drops the ball, like really drops it? And you're left wondering, what do I say now? Do I call it out? Do I give them grace? Am I coming off too strong? Am I not coming off strong enough? And you feel stuck between two things that matter deeply: the relationship and the responsibility. You want to be kind, but you also need to lead. And you don't want to shame them, but you can't ignore the standard either. Look, I've been there too. I've sat across from team members I genuinely care about who just didn't follow through. And I felt that inner tug of war between connection and relationship and this accountability to them as their leader. So today we're going to talk about what to do in that moment, the one where a goal, where a deadline was missed. And what you say or what you don't say can shape everything going forward. So, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to respond without shaming your team while still holding your high expectations. So, let's start with why this matters so much. When someone on your team misses a goal or a deadline, you're not just dealing with an unmet deliverable, right? You're dealing with the weight of disappointment that they missed it. You're dealing with the pressure as the leader to do something about it. And you're also dealing with the fear of damaging this relationship. And you're dealing with that all at once. So it can feel emotional, it can feel messy. And honestly, for me at least, it's been one of the loneliest parts of leadership. So I love this quote from leadership coach Lolly Daskell. She says, "The quality of your leadership is determined by how you respond in moments of tension." And, leadership is often tested not in moments of ease, but in moments of tension like these, right? Where emotions are high and decisions matter, and they matter a lot. So the way you handle that moment is so important because it becomes part of your leadership reputation. It really does. So should you overcompensate by just kind of like brushing it under the rug and doing it yourself? Or do you hold it in and stew silently? Or do you blow up, even though you told yourself that you wouldn't? So I remember one moment really clearly. It was early on in my leadership journey. I was leading a small team. We're working on a product for a client, this promised product. I had one team member who I had mentored for months, and they were supposed to finish the first draft of the product by a certain date. We had a timeline, right? You know this. Yeah, timelines for stuff. So the day before the due date, I found out nothing had been done. Like, nothing. I was like, no, oh no. Because I cared about him as a person and I knew his heart was in the right place. But I also had a responsibility, right? To like the greater mission. I had a responsibility to the team. I had a responsibility to the client. So I remember lying awake the night before, just wondering, how do I say what needs to be said without crushing him? Or how do I not say it without crushing the culture? That tension, that exact moment is where your leadership is truly tested. And I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know how this feels. So if you don't know how to navigate it, you'll do one of these things. You'll default to doing the work yourself. You'll avoid the hard conversation entirely, or you'll swing to the other extreme and damage the relationship, that trust you had, by blaming or shaming. But friend, there's a better way. It's slower, it's bolder, and it's transformational. Are you curious? You want to know? Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to give you the step by step like always. You know I do. Step one in these moments is to call out the miss, right? If you've been with me for any length of time, you know I'm going to say, you got to say the thing. Call out the miss clearly, calmly, directly. No sarcasm, no silent treatment, no like soft chewing around the truth. So you're going to say something just like this. Hey, we agreed on this goal. We agreed on this deadline. It wasn't completed in time. Let's talk about what happened. Okay, so that sentence right there, do you hear? Calm, it's respectful, it's honest. But meanwhile, I know here's the internal pain point you will feel in this moment. I have felt in this moment. If I say that out loud, will they think I'm disappointed in them as a person? Or worse, will it make this relationship we've built awkward? So sometimes when we feel that way, we avoid saying anything or we soften it so much that our employee walks away unsure if anything went wrong at all. But I want to say this to you clearly, okay? You can care about the person and still clearly name the problem. It's not mean, it's just leadership. So, one of the biggest breakthroughs I see in coaching leaders is when a leader realizes that clarity is kindness. People, they want to know where they stand. They want feedback that helps them grow. There's so many statistics that show us that people would rather have negative feedback compared to none at all. So, I worked with a client, we're going to call her Amanda, who kept trying to be nice, right? By ignoring these small issues with her project lead. And every week, another thing got dropped. And she told herself, she's overwhelmed. I don't want to pile anything on her, right? Making all these excuses. But underneath, Amanda was stewing. And eventually, she exploded. Not because she was being cruel, because Amanda was exhausted. Now, you can avoid that spiral. I'm pretty sure you want to avoid that spiral. So just name the miss early, clearly, and calmly, okay? Do not wait on it. Now, once you've called out the miss, here's what comes next. You invite reflection, not excuses. So you ask something like, can you walk me through what got in the way? Or what happened that made this hard to finish on time or follow through on? So the goal here, it's not to give them a free pass, and it's definitely not to like have this counseling therapist session. It's to just uncover the root. It's your moment to not make any assumptions about what happened, to not make any assumptions about their character or anything in between. It is curiosity, just trying to legitimately figure out what happened. In this moment, you might be struggling internally with thoughts like, if I let them talk about what went wrong like this, does that mean I'm letting them off the hook? No. It means you're treating them like a grown adult, right? Who's capable of learning, capable of problem solving. And reflection is how people develop this kind of ownership. So when we skip it, what do? We just correct the behavior without helping them to change the mindset. So without allowing the person to take the ownership and learn from it, it doesn't do anything to help them in the long run. So let's pretend that you are frustrated because one of your direct reports keeps missing this window to update important metrics, some sort of numbers report. What if you got curious instead of furious? Okay, that was good. Okay, curious instead of furious. Where can I write that one down? Put that one on Instagram. I love it. Okay, anyway, what if you just asked what was going on? And what if they answered by saying, honestly, I keep putting it off because I know I'm behind. I'm embarrassed to show you the numbers because I didn't want to disappoint you. So now what do you have? You have something you can work with. So this wasn't about laziness with your employee like you thought. It was about fear. And the truth is, most people are not trying to let you down. They're trying to avoid letting themselves down. And you, leader, are just caught in the crossfire. So be curious and invite reflection. You're not losing your authority by not just laying down a punishment. No, you're continuing to build trust and pathways for this kind of communication that won't lead to missed deadlines in the future. And really, what you're doing is you're culture building. So now, this is where a lot of leaders take a deep breath and they say, okay, I had the conversation. Can I go to lunch? Can I just move on now? Nope, not yet. Step 3, coach forward with structure. You knew it was coming 9 times out of 10 with me. It's going to come back to coaching. This is where we see these aha moments that we really, really want. So you've called out the miss, you've explored the root cause. Now you ask, what's your plan for making sure this gets done next time? Or what support, what process do you need to put in place to follow through? Or what's one concrete step you'll take differently going forward? Now, I get it, right? This is where your very human inner voice says, shouldn't they know how to do their job? Why do I have to do this with them? I mean, should they know how to do their job? Yes. And no. People often don't need more pressure from you. They need more clarity and support from you. So by asking those questions, you get to uncover what's still not clear. And you can provide the support that they need for them to, yes, do their job. Okay, now for my favorite part. Step 4, this is when you reinforce accountability with belief. Why belief? Because it's what keeps this correction from turning into criticism. When someone misses a goal, their confidence already took the hit. You don't need to pile it on. Really, they already know. But you do need to be clear that this matters and that they're capable. So you say something like, I'm holding you to this because I believe you can rise to it. Or, I know this didn't go how we hoped, but I do see your commitment and I believe in your ability to grow through this and beyond this. So I still remember one time that I made a leadership mistake that impacted a whole program launch, and I was mortified. My instinct was to just shrink and to hide and say like, I'll fix it, it's fine, and cover it all up. But my boss sat me down and said, this was a miss. But Kara, you're a leader. You care. You're going to learn something here and it's going to make you better. And I can't wait to see it. And so I walked away with accountability, but I also walked away with dignity. And I never forgot how that felt. And so when you reinforce belief while holding the line, you become the kind of leader people want to grow with and not just perform for or impress. So before we wrap up, we've talked a lot about what we should do. So let me give you a few quick don'ts for when someone misses a goal or a deadline, okay? Don't default to silence. If you ignore the issue, you may feel like you're keeping the peace, but you're just creating long-term confusion and resentment for both of you. Don't swing to overcorrection. So we often go silent until we what? Snap. And that can get really ugly. So you got to stay ahead of the tension with earlier, smaller conversations that happen right away. And the third don't is don't rescue, right? We care. We feel like we want to rescue. You might want to just take the work back and do it yourself. And that feels like relief in the short term because the project gets done and you have successfully avoided potential conflict. But that approach, friend, it just hurts you in the long run. It really does. Okay, so let's review. Here's your 4-step framework for handling missed goals and deadlines like a coaching leader. First, call out the miss clearly. Second, invite reflection. Third, coach forward with structure. And fourth and finally, reinforce with belief. You don't have to choose between kindness and clarity. You can and should lead with both. Okay, friend, I know this is hard. Every time someone drops the ball, your brain goes to, should I say something? Will this hurt the relationship? What if I'm too harsh? What if I'm not clear enough? But I promise, if you can lean in with honesty, with curiosity, with structure and belief, your people will grow and your culture will thrive. And you'll stop feeling like the only one holding it all together. And if you want more tools just like this, you gotta head over to heycaralist.com/workshop and grab the free on-demand training just for you, leader. It's packed with practical tools and a simple framework to help you lead these high-performing connected teams without doing it all on your own. The training is just an hour. It's practical. It will walk you step by step through creating a culture where this kind of coaching and accountability we've talked about, where this kind of encouragement becomes something that's just a part of your everyday. So go ahead and grab that free on-demand workshop at heycaralist.com/workshop. Thanks for spending time with me today. Leader, I want you to know you are not alone. I promise you are doing better than what you think. And your team is so lucky to have a leader who cares enough about this to get it right. So until next time, you know it. I'm cheering you on. Bye.